Princess Program. Book 1.
Chapter 6, A Night to Remember. Chris stared at his phone, bewildered. Natalie casually smirked as she had handed over Chris's contact information to Jason after the meeting at the mall on the weekend without his knowledge, and knew exactly what the messages were about. Chris had barely processed the moment when his phone vibrated with another message from the unknown number. "Hi Chris, it's Jason. Natalie gave me your number. Would you like to go out after school today? Maybe grab dinner?" Chris's heart skipped a beat. He reread the message, his cheeks heating as excitement and nervousness swirled within him. He quickly replied, trying to sound cool. "Sure, that sounds fun. Where should we meet?" Jason's response came almost immediately. "I'll meet you outside your dorm at 6. Can't wait." For the rest of the day, Chris could hardly focus in class. His thoughts raced, bouncing between anticipation and the growing realization that this would be his first date, not just as a girl, but ever. When the final school bell rang, he practically bolted to his dorm room. Standing before the mirror, Chris took a deep breath. He had carefully chosen a sheer low-cut V-neck green dress that flattered his figure, paired with gray boots. His makeup was soft and romantic, emphasizing his eyes and giving his cheeks a gentle flush. With his hair styled into loose waves, he looked and felt like he was ready for a magical evening. At exactly 6, Chris stepped outside to find Jason waiting by the dorm entrance. Jason's warm smile widened when he saw Chris. "Wow," he said, his hazel eyes sparkling. "You look amazing." Chris's heart fluttered. "Thank you. You look great too." Jason, dressed in a casual yet stylish outfit of dark jeans and a button-up shirt, gave Chris a warm hug before stepping back with a smile. "Shall we?" They hopped into a cab Jason had hailed, heading toward the city. The ride was filled with light chatter and laughter, the vibrant energy of the evening already setting the tone for their date. Their first stop was the bowling alley. Chris had never been before, much less in a dress, and his awkward attempts to roll the ball down the lane had Jason chuckling. "Here, let me show you," Jason said, stepping behind Chris. Gently guiding his arms, Jason helped him position the ball. Just like this. Chris's cheeks burned at the closeness, but he focused, sending the ball rolling straight down the lane and knocking over several pins. He turned to Jason with an excited smile. "See? You're able to be straight after all." Jason teased. What did he mean by this? Was he subtly referring to my gender, Chris thought. It soon became an afterthought as the pair of them spent the next hour laughing and competing at the lanes, with Jason intentionally letting Chris win a few games by pulling some of his larger-than-life antics. By the end of the session, they were both grinning and relaxed, the initial nerves and overthinking long forgotten. Dinner was at a cozy Japanese restaurant Jason had picked. Over bowls of ramen and plates of sushi, they discovered how much they had in common. Their conversation was light-hearted and filled with laughter. Jason told a story about his little sister trying to outsmart their family dog for a snack, complete with animated impressions, which had Chris nearly choking on his drink from laughing too hard. Chris, in turn, shared an embarrassing but funny moment about tripping on stage during a school play rehearsal. "I swear, it felt like the entire school was watching," Chris said, burying his face in his hands. Jason chuckled, his voice warm. "Well, at least you've got great comedic timing." Their sense of humor aligned perfectly, and they found themselves finishing each other's jokes and creating new ones as they ate. Amid the laughter, the conversation naturally shifted to deeper topics. They shared stories about school, family, and their dreams for the future. "You're really easy to talk to," Jason said, his voice soft. "I feel like I've known you forever." Chris smiled, his heart swelling. "I feel the same way." The night ended at a quiet playground near the dorms. The stars glittered above as they sat on the swings, their conversation turning introspective. Jason told Chris about his love for art and how he wanted to travel the world. Chris shared his aspirations and how this year had changed him in ways he hadn't expected. "You're incredible, you know that?" Jason said, turning to look at Chris. Chris's breath hitched. "You're just saying that. Jason shook his head, a small smile playing on his lips. Slowly, he reached out, brushing a strand of hair away from Chris's face. The touch sent a shiver down Chris's spine as Jason leaned closer, his eyes searching Chris's for a moment of unspoken consent. "Jason, there is something you should," Chris began speaking before being silenced by Jason's lips on his. As their lips met, Chris wrapped his arms around Jason's neck. The world seemed to still as Chris's heart raced, his pulse pounding in his ears. Kiss was tender, filled with warmth and unspoken emotion. When they finally pulled apart, Chris's cheeks were flushed, his eyes wide with wonder. Jason smiled, his voice a gentle whisper. "Sorry I interrupted you. I've wanted to do that all night," and he joked, "You were saying?" After catching his breath, Chris shook his head shyly and lips curved into a smile. "Nothing. I've been wanting to do that all night, too." Under the stars, with the cool night air wrapping around them, Chris felt like the world had shifted. As he leaned into Jason's shoulder, he still wondered if he should have had the courage to tell Jason his embarrassing secret about his identity.
Princess Program. To be continued.